Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Stardust Dragon Synchron deck profile for post the Duelist Nexus. We have a bunch of new cards, new evolved forms, I would say, of a lot of different monsters that Yusei used, and not just monsters, but even some of the trap cards and spells that he used for added support. Getting out the new Cosmic Quasar Dragon, a card that can just get out additional versions of Yusei's ace monster, whether it be shooting Quasar Dragon, and then from there you just have monsters that special summon after special summon, and all you have to do is utilize your synchro monsters with some of the new tuner monsters we got, like Wheel Synchron, Revolution Synchron, and then the all new added spell and trap support like I mentioned before to help with their playstyles. If you want to call this a Synchron deck, a Stardust Dragon deck, I really don't think there's a wrong name for the deck, a Signer Dragon deck, you name it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the tuner monsters for the beginning. We're running one copy of Wheel Synchron, a machine tuner. If this card you control is used as synchro material, you can also treat it as a non-tuner. You can only use each of the following effects of Wheel Synchron once per turn. During your main phase, you can melee after this effect resolves. Normal summon one level 4 or lower monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except for synchro monsters, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one synchro monster you control and reduce its level by up to 4. So being able to reduce a tuner monster's level just gives you access for more of a variety to use it with some of your other plays. We have some level 5 tuner synchros in the extra deck, so being able to adjust the levels of those monsters to then better fit with some of the other ones that we run is all an added bonus for sure for our plays. And then being able to make full use of this card for some of our other special summons from our graveyard for our tuners, like with the card Synchro World, one of the new spells that we run in the deck. For some of the bigger numbers for the tuner monsters, still running the 3 copies of Junk Synchron. I would still say this card's one of the best ones to run in the deck, because then we can get out our Junk Speeder, and then Junk Speeder can be used to special summon as many Synchron tuners, which our Wheel Synchron is, being a level 5 tuner, and a different level from the good variety of other tuners that we're running in the deck to begin with. And I also run the 1 copy of the new Assault Synchron. During your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, then take 700 damage. While it's face up in the monster zone, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except for synchro monsters. And if a face up dragon synchro monster you control is tributed or banished except during the damage step, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of those monsters and special summon it. You can only use the effect of Assault Synchron once per turn. This is the setup we were waiting for with this new support from Monstrous Revenge, which makes Assault Synchron so good, because then you just have the option for your banish of your monster with the new Cosmic Quasar Dragon to then utilize that monster along with Assault Synchron's own special summon power to get out another bigger monster, and then use the resource to summon back that monster onto the field, since it says it must first be synchro summoned. So once you successfully synchro summon your Cosmic Quasar, you can then summon it back onto the field again, thanks to cards like Assault Synchron. And being a level 2 tuner, it works very well with the added special summon power that cards like our Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon also add to the deck. I run 3 copies of Stardust Synchron as well. If this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can tribute 1 monster, special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. Also, you cannot summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except for synchro monsters. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Stardust Dragon in its text. You go and use each effect of Stardust Synchron once per turn. You have this card in here just as an added special summon onto the field to make full use of your level 4 tuner dragon monster in the deck, and then also being able to give you that special summon for some of the other resources you can go into for the deck to use. And for some of the other lower numbers for the tuner monsters, I have the 1 copy of the Jet Synchron and 1 copy of the new Revolution Synchron. With Jet Synchron, if it's sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can add 1 junk monster from your deck to your hand. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field, giving you another level 1 tuner on the field. And then the new Revolution Synchron, if it will be synchro summon using a Power Tool Dragon or a level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro monster, this card in your hand can also be used as the material material. You can only use this effect of Revolution Synchron once per turn. If this card's in your graveyard and you control a level 7 or higher Synchro monster, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, special summon this card, but its level becomes 1. So then you have more of a tuner option, making this card a level 1 tuner, to then go into some of your bigger monsters as well, depending on the Synchro monster you summon out, including getting out powerhouses like Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and also being able to use a very similar tuning-like effect to summon this card back onto the field, and also being another level 3 Synchron monster. If you didn't want to go for Junk Synchron with your Junk Speeder, you can get this card out also and have the additional play to utilize the non-tuner effect of Wheel Synchron on the field to then use the Revolution Synchron in your hand to Synchro summon the two together into a level 8 Synchro. For some of the non-tuner monsters, I run 3 copies of Junk Converter. It's just a searcher, being able to add a Synchron monster from your deck to your hand, and if it's sent to the graveyard as Synchro material, you can target a 1 tuner in your graveyard, special summon it in defense, but you cannot activate its effects this turn. So if you combo this with your Junk Synchron, you can then use the discard effect of your Junk Converter, and let's say just another tuner card in your hand, to discard this card in that tuner to add the Junk Synchron, then summoning out the Junk Synchron to summon out Converter, then using the 2 for your level 5 play, and then being able to use Converter to then summon back the tuner of choice in the graveyard back onto the field also. And then also 2 copies of Synchron Carrier. During your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Synchron monster. In addition to your normal summoner set, you can only gain this effect once per turn. And if another Synchron monster is sent to your graveyard as material for a Synchro summon of a warrior or machine monster, while you control this card, you can special summon 1 Synchron token onto the field. And you can only use this effect of Synchron Carrier once per turn. It's just additional play push, being able to then summon out more monsters on the field, giving you a token resource, which is very similar to our next monster that we run as well. But that additional normal summon comes in handy when we use cards, once again, like our Junk Synchron, because you get the special summon of Junk Synchron off of normal summoning this card. And also 2 copies of Doppel Warrior for the extra token summon, and when a monster is special summoned from your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. So working well again with ever the special summon we go for from the graveyard, whether it be our new Revolution Synchron, our Junk Synchron, and then when this card is sent to the graveyard as Synchro material, getting 2 Doppel tokens, which are level 1 monsters, non-tuners, onto the field to use also. Being able to then use cards like our level 1 Revolution Synchron with that token on the field to go into some of the tuner synchros that we run, like our Celestial Double Star Shaman or our Formula Synchron. And then for the rest of the main deck monsters, 2 copies of Jester Confit, another level 1 special summon. If you only control 1 Jester Confit, you can special summon this card from your hand, but you return it back to your hand during the next end phase, and also bouncing both it and an opponent's card. So it's mostly used as just an initial resource to extend your plays from your hand. Just 2 copies of this card. I thought of using Caligo Clawcrow as well. It depends on the level variation you want for the deck as well. You can even try 1 and 1, but I'm just running the Jester Confit. I find the level 1 plays to be a little more adjustable, just like the tokens we can summon out with Doppel Warrior onto the field. With the rest of the main deck monsters being 3 copies of our Escator Dawnwalker and the 1 copy of Fire Ant Escator. So then you have a level 8 Synchro, just being able to discard a card to special summon this card from our hand, and then getting the additional play for our level 3 tuner onto the field to then get out some of the level 8 Synchros that we run in the deck that much more easily, whether it be our Stardust Dragon or our Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon with this summon. And that is it for the main deck monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 copies of Tuning. You add 1 Synchron Tuner from your deck to your hand, then send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. So we have a lot of 1-ofs for the Synchron Tuners that we run as well, whether it be Assault Synchro or our Revolution Synchron or our Wheel Synchron. Having all these 1-ofs in the deck makes this 3-of, not once per turn Searcher in our hand all the more vital to add these cards to our hand to make use of. And also 3 copies of another Searcher, being on your mark, get set, duel. When this card is activated, if you control no other cards, you can add 1 Synchron monster from your deck to your hand, and once per turn during your standby phase, place 1 signal counter on this card, and you can remove 2 signal counters from your field and send this face-up card in the graveyard to draw 2 cards, then send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only activate 1 on your mark, get set, duel once per turn. So it adds a Synchron monster once again, and then just being able to, during the standby phase, put a signal counter on this card. It kind of acts like the speed spell draw 2 card from the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's anime, just giving you draw power and then being able to, once again, if your field is clear, and activate another on your mark get set duel if your opponent manages to wipe your board of the field aside from the card you sent off of the draw power from this card. Also, 3 copies of Synchro Overtake. This is just a good way to target our junk Synchron for the search power and being able to either to add it to our hand or special summon it. We just have to reveal the junk Synchron from our extra deck and then choose one of those Synchro materials listed on it and add it to your hand. We have the 3 junk Synchrons to run, so we have the 3 searches off of this card to also add or special summon it onto the field. And then we're just locked into Synchro summons, which really isn't the biggest restriction in this deck to begin with. Also running the 1 copy of the new Duelist Genesis. If you have a tuner on your field or in your graveyard, add 1 Synchro spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Duelist Genesis per turn. More search power as well. Some of the other cards we run for the Synchro spell or trap is the 1 copy of the Synchro World field spell. Each time a monster is Synchro summoned, place 2 signal counters on this card. If this card in the owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Crimson Dragon from your extra deck, and you can remove 4, 7, or 10 signal counters and apply the appropriate effect. If it's 4, increase or decrease the level of 1 face-up monster you control by 1, 7, special summon 1 tuner from your graveyard, and 10, special summon 1 synchro monster from your graveyard, giving you resource after resource, making use of, once again, sort of like speed counters, instead called signal counters with this deck, off of this card to use for those plays. And then also the 1 Synchro Chase as an additional way to get resources when you make a Synchro Summon on top of our Junk Converter. You can then use Synchro Chase as well to get one of those resources when you go into a Synchron or Stardust or Warrior Monster for your Synchro Monster in their original names. And then for more of the generic spell lineup, the 1 copy of 1 for 1, the 1 Foolish Burial, the 1 Monster Reborn, and the 1 Reinforcements of the Army for all search and setup power to use in this deck. With our only trap that we run in the deck being the 1 copy of the new Scrap Iron Sacred Statue. Target one of your level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro monsters that is banished during your graveyard, special summon it, but return it to the extra deck during the end phase. Also, after that, set this card face down instead of sending it to the graveyard. If this card is set in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 Crimson Dragon from your extra deck, and you can use each effect of Scrap Iron Sacred Statue once per turn. So just being able to summon out the Crimson Dragon, whether it be from this card or our Synchro World field spell, you have plenty of options to get that monster on the field and then utilize it to get out another Synchro monster on the field, which we'll go over when we get to its card effect in the extra deck. But moving on now to the first cards of the extra deck, the 1 copy of Cosmic Quasar Dragon. You need 1 tuner Synchro and 2 or more non-tuner Synchro monsters. It must first be Synchro summoned with the above Synchro material once per turn. You can target face-up cards on the field up to the number of monsters used as Synchro material for this card plus 1 and negate their effects. Their effects activation and their effects cannot be negated. This effect cannot be negated. Quick effect. You can banish this Synchro summoned monster card on the field to special summon 1 Dragon Synchro monster from your extra deck that lists 2 or more non-tuner Synchro monsters as material, and this is treated as a Synchro summon. So those targets that you can get with your Cosmic Quasar Dragon include the Cosmic Blazar Dragon and the Shooting Quasar Dragon, which we're running 1 copy of each as well in the deck, each having their own powerhouse effects with the plays. When your opponent activates a monster card effect, negate the activation. You have the negation with Quasar as well. You have the Shooting Star Dragon special summon off of Quasar, and also the multiple attacks, and then the negate attack option with Cosmic Blazar. So depending on what you want to summon off of Cosmic Quasar, you have both of these monsters available to do so. And also the new Crimson Dragon, needing 1 tuner or 1 non-tuner monster to summon out this level 12 monster. If it's special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap that mentions the Crimson Dragon from your deck to your hand. And quick effect, you can target 1 level 7 or higher Synchro monster on the field, except the Crimson Dragon, and return this card to the extra deck. If you do, special summon 1 Dragon Synchro monster with the same level as the targeted monster from your extra deck, and it is treated as a Synchro summon. So then you have the Synchro monster option on the field as well with your Cosmic Quasar Dragon to then use this card on the field, returning it to the extra deck and special summoning out that Dragon Synchro monster from your extra deck along with the additional play depending on the level of the monster on the field also. And then I also run the 1 copy of the Junk Speeder. This just sets up more and more of our tuner special summons with all the varying levels, whether they be the level 3 Revolution Synchron or the level 5 Wheel Synchron, the 1 Junk Warrior to have the Junk Synchron Search as well, and then the 1 Celestial Double Star Shaman, the 1 Excel Synchron, and the 1 Formula Synchron for the added tuner synchro monsters to use to go into some of our bigger boss monsters requiring the tuner synchros. And then also for some of the stronger synchro monsters, 1 Crystal Wing, 1 Satellite Warrior, 1 Stardust Dragon, 1 Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, the 1 Baron de Fleur, and the 1 Shooting Star Dragon to finish off the rest of the synchro monsters that we run in the extra. We're running a max synchro monster build since we're restricted with a good number of cards in the deck for synchro plays, but they definitely do help with our overall summon, which that initial summon can always begin with our Junk Converter play. Still one of my favorites in the deck, just being able to send this card and a tuner. So depending on the tuner we have in our hand for the send, even if you send a Stardust Synchron or any of the multiple ones we have in our hand, you can send it off of your converter, then add your Junk Synchron to your hand, summon out your Junk Synchron to the field, special summoning back your converter, and then from there you can go for your level 5 synchro play into your Junk Speeder. Junk Speeder you want to place in the extra monster zone, so you have all 5 slots behind you free. You can use the effect of Converter to special summon your Junk Synchron onto the field. You can use your Junk Speeder to then special summon the additional monsters from your deck onto the field, having the wide variety of monsters. You can summon out your Assault Synchron, being the level 2 choice. You can summon out the Jet Synchron as well. And then the final spots can be your Wheel Synchron and your Revolution Synchron as well. Then using these monsters, you can go into the additional plays, treating the Wheel Synchron as your non-tuner, to then use it with your Revolution Synchron to go into your level 8 synchro monster, being your Stardust Dragon. Or if you were to use the additional play beforehand, you have this summon available to you as well, and then being able to use the effect of Revolution Synchron in the graveyard, controlling a level 7 or higher synchro monster, sending the top card of your deck to the graveyard, special summoning back Revolution Synchron to the field. It becomes a level 1 monster as well, still being a tuner also, don't forget with that. And then being able to have your additional synchro plays, you have the Junk Synchron and also the additional Assault Synchron for your play, so you can go into the additional tuner play depending on what you want to use for your summon for these 2 monsters, using your level 8 and 10 monster to go into Baron de Fleur on the field. And then you have your Junk Speeder with your Junk Synchron on the field to summon out your next go-to, being your Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, which can then activate as well, summoning back your Assault Synchron onto the field. And then you have the additional tuner play, so depending on where you want to summon this monster, you can give yourself the extra free spot on the field as well with your Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. And then using this play for the Synchro Summon, special summon monster for the material off of your Excel Synchron, and then tribute this card to special summon 1 Stardust Dragon monster from your extra deck. So if you didn't go into the Stardust Dragon, you always have the other level 8 or 12, depending on the tuner synchros you want to go into, in the deck to use to then summon out your Excel Synchron off of the play. Or if you get your initial Stardust Dragon off that summon, you also have the additional play of, depending on what's in your hand. That's why I like the Jester Confit plays, because then you can use it as a special summon from your hand to use for your Formula Synchron as the additional draw on the field. It all comes down to what you have for your resources to summon out onto the field, but with the full use of cards like Revolution Synchron, Wheel Synchron, you have the special summon plays off of your Junk Speeder as well for the special summons on the field for those monsters as well. And then also for the special summon monster restrictions for the Junk Speeder, your effects aren't negated. You just have to remember that you can't special summon anything else, which you're not restricted to for the extra deck plays that you want to go for also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. It's a really awesome lineup of support. It feels like it hasn't been a while because we had the booster set beforehand, Dawn of Majesty, but that's not, it seemed more like the Majestic Star support. This feels like full-on shooting Quasar support in its biggest form, with the new form of Cosmic Quasar Dragon, and being able just to utilize the many other different forms of Stardust Dragon thanks to those cards as well. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.